I'm Sophie, 28, and I thought freedom was mine. My London flat buzzed with plans for a snowy Lake District Christmas, funded by late nights designing logos. Then Mum called. Her voice cut sharp, announcing a family ski trip to the Alps, ordering me to stay and mind the kids. My no sparked chaos. Dad's threats boomed and Liam dumped the children at my door, their wide eyes nearly breaking me. The twist stung hardest when they admitted it was a lie. I was never excluded, just baited to cave. Rage fueled me. I fought back, found strength in Cousin Ellie's buried truth, and turned their trap into my escape. This isn't a gentle tale. It's me seizing my life, one raw defiance at a time. Want to see how I claimed my own dawn? Step closer. My story beckons. I sprawl across my sofa, brochures spilling over the cushions like invitations to a world I've only dreamed of. My London flat glows under the lamplight, a quiet haven I've carved out at 28, with late nights designing logos. For once, Christmas feels mine. I trace a photo of Lake District hills, frost glittering under a pale sun, and picture myself in a cottage where silence reigns. No more Boxing Day roasts I've cooked for ungrateful relatives, no more cousins tugging at my sleeves while others sipped wine. This year, I've earned solitude. My laptop sits open, a booking form half filled. I hover over the confirm button, grinning at the thought of snowy trails. Then my phone buzzes. I glance down. Mum's name flashes, and my stomach knots. I answer, expecting a quick chat. Margaret's voice cuts in, sharp and sure. Sophie, we're skiing in the Alps with the family. You'll mind Liam's kids, of course, 5, 7, 9. You've got nothing planned, so it works perfectly. My fingers tighten on the brochure, crinkling the edge. Nothing planned? Heat rises in my chest as she prattles on about chalets, not waiting for me. I see my hills fading, years of bending to their whims pressing down again. I've been the one they count on, the one who nods and steps aside. Not now. I set the phone on the table, hands trembling, and draw a shaky breath. Her voice hums on, oblivious, but my pulse thuds with something new. I don't speak. Not yet. The words sit heavy on my tongue, and I know this moment could unravel everything I've built. I sit rigid, the phone pressed to my ear as Mum's voice drills into me. It's perfect practice for your own kids one day, Sophie, so don't be daft. The words claw at me, shrinking the flat's warm corners until the brochures on the sofa feel like relics of a lost fight. Years of canceled plans flood back, a weight I've carried too long. Nights I stayed home, holidays I stitched together for them. She presses on, her tone carving me into her mold, and my chest tightens with a familiar ache. I want to let it pass, to nod like always, but a spark flares. Wait, I mutter, barely audible. She doesn't hear, still rattling about ski slopes. Then it bursts. No, I say, clear and firm. I've got my own life. The line goes still. Mum sucks in a breath, sharp as a slap. Selfish girl, she spits, her voice thick with wounded pride. After everything we've done? The guilt stabs, a reflex I know too well, but it doesn't hold me this time. I stand, gripping the phone until my fingers ache. I'm not your nanny, I snap, my voice steady now, cutting through her stunned pause. She recovers fast, anger surging. You'll regret this. Your father will have words. The threat lands like a stone, heavy with his looming shadow, but I'm already done. I lower the phone, my thumb hovering over the button, and press it. The call dies, and silence rushes in, cool and vast. I cross to the window, my steps unsteady, and lean against the frame. Outside, dusk paints London in muted gold, cars threading through the streets below. My breath clouds the glass, a fleeting mark I watch dissolve. I turn, sinking back onto the sofa, and pick up a brochure. The Lake District gazes up, its hills steady and real. My hands tremble, not just from fear, but from a wild, unfamiliar rush coiling in my gut. I've never stood my ground like this. Mum's words echo, her threat about Dad ringing faintly, but they're drowned by the thud of my own heart. I smooth the brochure's edge, feeling the paper's quiet promise. Whatever comes next, I've lit a match. There's no snuffing it out. I wake to a gray dawn, the flat stillness pressing against me like a held breath. My phone waits on the table, a silent threat I avoid as I brew tea. The kettle's low hum soothes me for a moment, but my chest stays tight. Then it buzzes. Dad's name lights the screen, and my stomach lurches. I answer, steeling myself. Graham's voice rolls in, gruff and firm. "Family comes first, Sophie. End this nonsense." His tone digs into me, echoes of childhood lectures that once crushed my protests. I manage a faint, "I can't," but he talks over me, piling on duty until I cut the call. My palms sweat as I set the phone down. Texts follow fast. Liam snaps, "You're ruining everything." Sarah adds, "Act your age." Each word stings, and I see the kids in my mind. Finn's crooked smile, Lily's quiet trust. Am I the one breaking this? Doubt seeps in, cold and persistent. I sink onto the sofa and shove the brochures aside, their promise dimming. My gaze drifts to the ceiling while questions gnaw at me. The phone vibrates again. I flinch, expecting more venom, but Ellie's name appears. My cousin, long out of touch, catches me off guard. I open her message, bracing for judgment. "Well done," she writes. "They pulled this on me too. Stand firm." My pulse skips. She spills her tale, how they cornered her years ago, how she refused and paid the price with their silence. Her words hit like a spark, lighting a corner I thought was dark. I scramble for my journal, pen scratching as I pour it out. Dad's growl, Liam's bite, Ellie's defiance collide on the page, but her story steadies me. I'm not the only one they've tried to bend. I rise and pace the room, the floor groaning under my steps. Rain taps the window, smudging London into a silver blur. I rest my hand on the glass, its coolness grounding my racing thoughts. They won't stop, I know. Dad's voice still looms, and Mum's likely scheming. Yet Ellie's out there, a survivor of their game. I return to the sofa and tug the brochures free, smoothing their wrinkles. The Lake District holds steady, a refuge I can still reach. My phone lies quiet now, but the air crackles with what's ahead. I flip back to Ellie's note in my journal and read it once more. They've played this before. They expect me to fold. I won't. I lean back, the knot in my chest loosening into something solid. Doubt lingers, but it's no match for the fire taking root. I've held my ground once. I'll hold it again. Christmas Eve settles over the flat, its quiet too thin to feel safe. I've dodged my phone all day, the silence a shaky ceasefire after the past week's battles. The brochures rest on the table, corners curled from my fidgeting, and I'm folding a sweater, imagining it packed for the Lake District when the doorbell buzzes. My pulse spikes. I pause, then peek through the peephole. Liam looms outside, his face tight, 3 kids trailing him with duffels in tow. My stomach drops. I open the door, and Finn leaps forward, 5 years old and all grins. "Are we staying with you, Sophie?" His question cuts deep, bright, and guileless. Lily and Max linger behind, 7 and 9, their gazes soft with hope. I grip the doorframe, throat tight, but Liam strides in with a smirk. "Mum reckoned you'd come round. Plane's off tomorrow." His certainty jars me, and my legs tremble. They've cornered me, using the kids as bait. I force a breath and meet his eyes. "No, you need to leave." Finn's smile dims, and Lily tilts her head, puzzled. Liam snorts, a rough edge to it. "Quit messing about, Soph. You're not serious." I curl my hands into fists, nails pressing into skin. "I am. Take them home." The kids shift, unsure, and my heart twists at their confusion. I ache to pull them close, to whisper promises of cocoa and tales, but this isn't their fault. Liam's grin fades, his jaw tightening. He steps closer, voice dropping. "You were always in on it, you know. They figured you'd cave if we leaned hard enough." The truth crashes over me, icy and sharp, stealing my air. A setup, not a slip. My eyes sting, rage and pain knotting together. "Get out," I say, soft at first, then firm. "Get out now." My arms shake as I point to the hall, and Liam freezes, surprise flickering in his stare. He mutters a curse, hesitates, then grabs the bags. "Come on," he snaps at the kids, turning away. Finn glances back, his brow creased, and the sight pierces me. I shut the door hard, the thud ringing in the stillness. My knees buckle, and I sink to the floor. Tears spill fast, hot against my cheeks. They didn't forget me. They rigged this, betting on my weakness. I press my hands to my face, fighting the sobs, but Finn's small frown haunts me. I drag myself to the sofa and curl up, staring at the brochures through blurred eyes. The Lake District feels distant, a prize I might have lost the right to claim. Then Ellie's voice echoes in my head, steady from yesterday. They've played this game before. I swipe at my tears, breath hitching, and sit up. My sweater lies crumpled beside me. I fold it again, then grab another from the pile, my fingers clumsy but deliberate. I won't let them have this. Not with guilt, not with tricks. The flat grows still, shadows pooling in the corners. I stand and cross to the table, picking up the brochures. Their weight steadies me. I set my phone aside, its screen dark, and glance at the clock. Tomorrow's Christmas. I'll be gone by then, beyond their reach. Christmas morning breaks over the flat, cold and restless, the air thick with last night's echoes. I'd started packing after the tears dried, a sweater and jeans now folded in my bag, a quiet defiance against the chaos. I stand by the window, coffee cooling in my grip, watching London wake under a heavy sky. Finn's small frown still tugs at me, a pang I can't shake. I set the mug down and pick up my phone, its screen crowded with missed calls from Mum and Dad. I've waited long enough. I dial them, my thumb firm as the line hums. Mum answers, her voice fraying with sobs. "Sophie, how could you do this to us?" I cut in before she pulls me under. "I'm not your fallback. I deserve my own life." She gasps, her cries sharpening, but Dad's growl breaks through. "Family doesn't abandon family, girl. You'll see." His warning lands hard, a stone I've ducked before, but I lift my chin. "You don't decide my worth," I say, my words slicing clean. I'm finished bending. Mum's wails falter, and Dad grunts, a rough edge of disbelief. I hang up, my breath steady now, the silence mine to claim. I turn to my laptop and pull up the Lake District booking, my fingers quick as I confirm the cottage. The screen pings, a soft note of triumph in the stillness. My phone buzzes again as I zip my bag, and I hesitate. Finn's voice spills from a voicemail, small and wobbly. "I'll miss you, Sophie." My knees buckle, and I sink onto the sofa, replaying it. His innocence presses against my ribs, a tender ache I didn't expect. I tuck the phone into my pocket, eyes stinging but push forward. I add a scarf to the bag, my hands sure despite the tremor, and glance around. The brochures sit crumpled, their promise real at last. I lock the door behind me, the sound crisp and final, and step into the hall. The cab waits below, engine idling as I slide in. Rain streaks the window, blurring the city into gray ribbons, and I rest my forehead on the glass. The chill seeps through, grounding me as the miles unfurl. The driver hums a tune, faint and merry, while Finn's words fade to a whisper. The weight of no slips away, leaving a quiet strength in its place. It's not just refusal now. It's me, choosing me. By midday, I'll reach the cottage, a pocket of peace where their voices can't follow. I've faced them down, claimed my ground, and walked free. That's all I need today. Christmas Day dawns crisp in the Lake District, and I step outside, boots sinking into fresh snow along the lake's edge. The water lies still, a sheet of ice catching the faint sun, and the air stings my lungs with its cold bite. I've arrived. The cottage hunkers behind me, its stone walls warm with firelight, a sanctuary I've claimed after weeks of fighting for it. I tug my scarf snug and walk the shore, each step a release I feel in my bones. My phone buzzes in my coat, and I pull it out to call Ellie. Her grin fills the screen, voice cutting through the static, and we laugh over our victories, plotting a spring visit. "You've rewritten the rules," she says, and a glow settles where fear once gnawed. Later, I find a note on the mat inside, Liam's rough handwriting scratched across it. "Well played. Have a good one." I smile, faint but real. He must have sent it before I left, a grudging nod I didn't expect. I slip it into my journal and tend the fire, the wood crackling as heat seeps into the room. I sit by the hearth with a sketch pad, my pencil tracing the lake's curve as smooth as the water outside. Mom and Dad's silence hums in the background, strange but not empty, and I let it rest. They'll call when they're ready, or they won't. I've stopped waiting. I think of Finn's soft, "I'll miss you," a thread that tugs but doesn't unravel me. I'll visit him someday, my way, when the sting fades. Saying no wasn't a cutoff. It was a beginning, a space I carved for myself. I lean back, watching dusk spill amber across the glass, and feel the quiet hold me. The struggle's done, not with a clash, but with this piece I've shaped. I sketch a few more lines, the hills rising under my hand, and know I've shifted more than my own path. If they try this again, with Finn or anyone, they'll face a different game. The fire snaps, and I let a small grin linger. This is freedom, steady and mine. Looking back, I see it plain as that icy lake. Saying no wasn't just about one fight. It was about claiming my life step by step until I stood firm. Freedom's quiet, built from small stands, not grand gestures. I learned that with Finn's soft "I'll miss you" echoing in my ears. It's not about cutting ties, but drawing lines I can live with. My family pushed me to bend, and I straightened instead, finding a way to love myself through it. That's my lesson, etched from London's grey to those snowy hills. Now I'm curious about you. What's the toughest no you've ever said? Did it lift you up or weigh you down? I'd love to hear your battles, your breakthroughs. Share them below. Your stories might spark something in me too. This chapter's closed, but I'll be back with more tales of pushing through. For now, thanks for sticking with me. Keep carving your own path. I'll see you again soon, ready to swap more stories over coffee or sketches.